election day, so I got dressed up nice. I'm headed to the polls and I'm gonna vote twice.
That's right, I gave my vote away again. Again. This time in lovely K-Town, where we had to kind of take a journey to find the polls. Hey, how's it going? I am John Rail, as you know. This is my kid sister, Allie. Now this is Allie Spagnola of the YouTubes and the Twitters and 3 million followers, awesome online buzzworthy personality. I don't really...
You too, come on.
I don't
You do cool stuff.
I do pretty cool stuff. And today, she received my vote, so she got 2 votes today. Of course, that's the hacky clickbait title, whatever. Let me give you the boring technical
Explain
version.
what really happened.
What really happened is she was my voter assistant today. It is still my vote, and she cannot possibly have my vote because it is my vote in my name. And she just came into the booth, which we signed her in. It was all perfectly legit. And she assisted me, and the way I wanted assistance was by filling out my ballot entirely. So she filled out my entire ballot, and that's the assistance I requested.
I'm gonna turn this around so you can fill it out.
Thank you.
And this is you taking the oath, correct?
Explain that. Is this me taking the oath?
Let's see. Yes, you have to swear and you have to read this. You read it.
Oh, you have to read it aloud. No, I want to hear it.
Oh, okay. I swear or affirm, I'm affirming that I am unable to mark my ballot.
Great. Got confirmation.
Okay.
Reason for assistance is lack of will. He just wrote down lack of will.
Lack of will.
You sign
All right.
Thank you.
there. Right there.
Right here.
All
There
right,
you are,
sir.
my dear.
Hidden, you can't see it.
Can't see it.
Okay.
You're done already?
I'm done.
Wow.
I did it once already, I practiced. Thanks.
Thank you.
Did you want
And,
it?
well, I'm going to put it on you.
Okay.
All stickers. They all want stickers?
Thanks, John.
And she was amazing.
Thank you for letting me help you. I'm glad that I could.
I'm glad that we got somebody to come down for this. We met through our friend Brian Brushwood.
Yeah.
Who,
Another internetter.
Yes, who bailed on me because he had busy things to do. He's a busy guy, so I understand.
You thought I was going to bail
But
on
he
you
could-
too. Up until this, I was very, very nervous. To be fair, I'm still nervous. But I made him explain a lot of things to me to make sure that this is legal.
Just to reiterate, nobody is getting arrested or prosecuted. She is my voter assistant. Even though the video title is obviously going to be some clickbait BS about I'm giving my vote away.
Topless.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Maybe.
You know, and guess what? You haven't been using your Chinese box wrong all these years.
I love
There's
that
just
example.
a different way to use it. It does call into question if we're getting pretentious, which I don't really want to. But
Come on, let's do it.
Let's get pretentious for a moment. It is calling into question the essence of what is voting, what constitutes a vote, and what constitutes a need for assistance. For example, if I was invalid, or if I'm an old senile guy, and she's my granddaughter who's kind of knowing her granddad, deciding what he would be voting for if he was all together and understood the issues.
That seems kind of gray too.
Yeah. So, what is voting? Is it my intentions? And are my intentions, and it also gets down to the philosophical, like, are my intentions even my own when we are fed a barrage of contextual media and money and two-party system paying billions and billions of dollars, blah, 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 blah. Any thoughts on that?
Oh, no, none.
It's Schrodinger's vote. It both exists and does not exist.
Does that make me a dead cat?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what the boys like. So that's as pretentious as I will get about this. It calls into question the spirit of voting, and it's a goofy, satirical way of me exercising my right without making decisions for my fellow man and woman, because I feel weird about that. Yeah, last time we did this, people got very pissed. I lost at least 2 or 3 Facebook friends over this, because they were like, that is your right. People have fought and died for your sacred right to vote. I'm like, people have fought and died for the freedom of speech. Does that mean I can't make a poop joke? I think voting is very important, and I think everybody should do it. But making all those decisions for everybody, I'm like, you know what? Just give me the gun. We're gonna play Russian roulette. I'm not gonna decide who dies. Random chance will.
Am I the bullet in this situation?
I'm
the gun.
You're the gun with bullet.
Got it. Now I'm feeling like I have 200% burden.
She actually has to pay taxes twice.
Oh dear.
And now she's got to do jury duty for me.
I do that. That's fun. I appreciate once again you giving me this opportunity, and hopefully I did a good job for you.
So glad you
and
were on
America.
board for it. Yay. Thank you, Allie.
Thanks, John. Okay, so when we get up there, you have to take an oath, right? And tell them something official.
I have to explain to them.
You have 10 seconds.
Oh. I don't know what Snapchat is.
So when we get up there, you have to take an oath, right? And tell them.
So cute.
Stan Snap.
Snapchat Pallies meet John. He is the gentleman relinquishing his vote to me. Not that I'm taking it from him. He just wants me to take it.
For those of you who are new, a little background. This all started because Penn Jillette of Penn & Teller made a video about some guy who got in trouble for trying to sell his vote in 2008. And Penn said something to the effect of,
if you've got something you can give away for free, you should be able to sell it. And George Carlin asked that about prostitution. What else can you give away but you can't sell? And he didn't have an answer to that, and now the answer comes up.
And I thought, well, that's a strange way of putting it. You can't give a vote away, can you? Can you give your vote away? As it turns out, you can. Well, kind of, sort of, technically not. But we did, and Penn loved it.
It just made me feel amazing that I just said something into a camera, and this guy went out and did this beautiful little mini documentary, whatever you want to call it. But man, the web is just so boss, so cool. Thanks, John.
And me being an apolitical person thought, well, that's what I'll do from now on. I mean, it's fun, and it affords someone else the opportunity to pull the trigger on my vote. Look, if you want a full examination, i.e. defense, beyond what you've already heard as to why I choose to exercise my right to vote in this admittedly goofy manner every election, check out my previous video on the subject, link below. Also, check out my interview on Skeptically Yours, episode 17, where my favorite observation was made by Ross Blocher, who noticed that my political antics were generating a very unique response from our critical thinking secular friends.
You had skeptics using the word sacred.
So check that out if you're interested in a great roundtable discussion where no one pulled their punches on me. One thing that's a little different this time that I find interesting and or hilarious is that some of the same people who are now upset with me are literally the same people who were figuratively begging me to give them my vote a couple years ago. Because, oh, you should give it to me next time because I know what to do with it. I'll vote the right way. Now, as much as their hubris might terrify me, and looking into the eyes of someone who is 100% confident about how the world should and should not be is fucking terrifying, I would have been happy to let them fill out my ballot. But more often than not, I knew exactly who and what they were going to vote for. And so it would no longer have been me handing my ballot over, it would have been me basically choosing to vote as they would vote, and their presence would have been an empty gesture. I mean, if it's your choice tonight, and I know you're just gonna order a Hawaiian pizza, do I need to wait for you to arrive before I make the call? Anyways, I'd like to thank Allie one more time. She was wonderful and enthusiastic, and you should check out her amazing video about getting my vote. Well, that's kind of all I have to say about that. Actually, there is one additional point I'd like to make. I've touched on it lightly, but never actually come out and said it because, frankly, it's a bit saccharine. And as much as I hate cynicism, sweet and wholesome tends to anger me. I mean, I'll always love kitty cats, but there's a small part of me that hates just how darn much I love kitty cats. It's disgusting, isn't it? So here's the unrevealed sentimental truth about why I give my vote away. I am an optimist who trusts his fellow person to try and do the right thing. Will they definitely do the right thing? Will they definitely make the correct decisions? Of course not. But I trust that the majority of people, the majority of the time, will try and do what's right. And so not only do I have no problem handing my political fate to someone whose political perspective is tantamount to a total stranger, but if I couldn't do that, if I couldn't trust that the majority of people are trying to do what they believe is right, then what's the point of anything? Because if most people aren't trying to do the right thing, then what's the point of getting people the correct information and equipping them with critical thinking skills? What's the purpose of truth if people don't want to do the right thing? See, I told you it was schmaltzy. Normally I would play it cool and just emphasize that this is a democratic satire, a political thought experiment, or just for the lulz, all of which are true, but none of those perspectives or approaches can be affected by the outcome. This one can be, but I'll let John from a few days ago tell you all about that. So, full disclosure, I am sad. For the first time ever, an election has made me sad. Like many of my close friends, I'm a little sick with sadness. Not because the good guys lost and the bad guys won. I mean, as much as I used to be a hardcore liberal back in the day, I really didn't mind when George W. won. It's obviously not what I would have preferred, and it was very disappointing at the time. Shit, man, our team didn't win the political Super Bowl. Damn. Whatever. But hey, if you were a conservative at the time with conservative values, Bush was the politician representing that agenda and those policies. It didn't mean that you were stupid or hateful for voting for him. We just have different tastes. But not so different that we can't eventually reach a consensus about some evidence-based issues? Right? Well, at least I was able to maintain my own optimism. To me, that's important because not only do I think being an optimist helps us keep up that Pyrrhosian gumption we all need to get shit done, but I am an optimist who prides himself on dismissing cynical perspectives and conspiracy theories because not only is cynicism unhelpful, it's usually fucking inaccurate. I bet the government caused 9/11. You know, artificial sweeteners cause cancer and were just approved because of big business. They just pretended to land on the moon because of stupid politics. The outcome of this election is the kind of thing that could have only been predicted by the biggest cynical piece of shit in the room. You know what I'm talking about. Every group has one. A cynical asshole who almost revels in his wrong-headed pessimism.
It's an embarrassment that they welcomed Bill Clinton here to this Union Hall today. It's a disgrace. He's not electable because George Bush is a ruthless campaigner, and he will slice and dice this candidate.
It's the kind of outcome that you only predict when you think very little of your fellow citizen. And hell, even the self-confirmed jaded, cynical assholes that I'm friends with are still shocked to the bone. But while they might see this as just another in a long history of political heartbreaks, this is something entirely different for me. This is, and this might sound weird, of course this whole video is kind of fucking surreal by now, the outcome of this election is probably the greatest empathetic challenge of my life. You see, Timmy, I might be dismissive in the face of bullshit, but I can usually see where the believers are coming from. Like, okay, you're missing this piece of the scientific method, you've gathered numerous anecdotes, and have come up with a barrage of unanswered questions combined with your distrust of authority. I get where you're coming from. Okay, I get why even an intelligent and educated person would believe that from that perspective. Could have happened to any one of us, and it often does. I don't know how to empathize with the results of this election. Because even if the Electoral College didn't exist and therefore the outcome was different, that's still 60 million people who voted for a horror of a human being. Not a political drone who just happened to support their agenda because he didn't. I can't fathom a political agenda that would be consistent with his entire campaign trail. 60 million people voted for a sociopathic con artist. The silent majority actually exists, and they have either been hiding or we have actively been ignoring them, or probably both. And I know a lot of people who will have those knee-jerk reactions about those stupid third-party voters screwed us. And why didn't more people with the correct opinions come out and vote? But all I could think about the whole night at the bar, watching the screens, drinking beer after beer, all I could think about was something Bill Nye told me a few years ago.
Well, my concern right now is what people call, well, I guess generally just scientific illiteracy. It's just to say you don't have enough rudimentary knowledge of the universe to evaluate claims. And I, as you may know, I don't blame the individual for this. I blame me. I mean, I blame our educational system for not helping people. Like, for example, I used to think the lottery was okay. If you want to play the lottery, you know, okay. Yeah. I used to feel that was all right. But I've come to realize it's really a tax on people who don't know math. And the reason they don't know math is we didn't show them. And so I won't say I take full responsibility for that, but I used to think it was a benign thing. Now I think it's probably not that good.
Yeah.
Because it ends up being, it really does end up being a tax on poor people. The people who can least afford it end up spending the most money on it. And it's not in anyone's best interest.
How did we fail our fellow citizens so badly? And when I say we, I mean people who labor under the assumption that we have the correct information and we actively try and share that information. How did we fail? How did we fail at that? And how do we do better? Considering the modern digital age, is it even possible to do better? Is it even possible to communicate?
We have to get better at listening to each other and challenging each other constructively and generously, but I worry that the very architecture of the social internet might make that impossible.
How can we even begin to reach out to a group that we didn't realize existed to the extent that they do? How do we empathize and not demonize? Obviously, we won't have any answers to those questions until we get some time and perspective, and some experts have done a post-mortem on this election. So where do we go from here? Yeah, he wasn't ready for the uplifting portion of this video. So where do we go from here? Well, being a person who obviously doesn't like speaking for everyone, I'll just say for myself that I am making a conscious effort over the next few months to get all those back burner projects into development, and those dozen or so scripts, some of which I've actually filmed, finally finished and released. And not many of you know this, but recently I've found myself in the very lucky position of receiving all of my income through a number of different science and skeptic productions. I even have 24/7 access to a production office and equipment at Raleigh Studios. So I feel very fortunate that I get to participate in the promotion of science literacy by throwing myself into my actual work, my actual day job. I can't imagine a better time to be in this position. And now, I assure you, I won't take it lightly. And I think that's a silver lining to look at here. Skepticism, the promotion of science and critical thinking, is about to get huge.
It's gonna be huge, huge!
And we should be getting excited about all the ideas and projects and art that are about to explode from our community, and so many others. Let's make sure we take advantage of this opportunity for successful outreach. I'm looking forward to what everyone comes up with. Thank you for watching, and please, look out for each other.